know that if you're not comfortable. Oh, yeah, that's a reminder. So if you don't feel comfortable with that, just let us know. But we are missions filled. We are here every fourth Wednesday of the month. If you haven't already introduced yourself in the chat box, we're going to give everybody a couple of minutes to do so live. So I would like to start. We try to keep it under 30 seconds to respect everybody's time, but I am Cassandra. I am affiliated with Mount Hope Church and I'm a staff on Missions Field. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it to, since you were the first one here, Heather, you can go first. You're going to unmute yourself, say hello, and then pass it to the person after you that you'd like to choose.
Okay, my name's Heather Spadowski, and I'm representing Trinity Church on Dunkel Road in Lansing today. And I will pass it on to Erica.
Thanks, Heather. I'm glad you said your name out loud. I am Erica. I'm on staff with Missions Field. I'm a member at Lansing South Church of the Nazarene, and I'm also the founder of Jubilee. And I will pass it to Devin.
Hey everyone, Devin here, City Life Lansing and Love the City are the two organizations I'm representing. And I'm going to pass it to my good friend, Ben. Bounce pass.
Are you talking about this, Ben? Can you hear me?
I think you're the only.
I think you're the only Ben on the call, so for sure.
I only see 5 people on it. So hello, I'm Benjamin from Journey Life Church, family pastor there, and I also am the director of Building 21. And I'm not sure who else is on, to be honest. There's a Jasmine, it looks like.
Hi guys, I'm Jasmine Fountain, and I suppose I'm representing Lansing Christian Schools. And hello.
Hello. I think that leaves Adam.
All right, I'm Adam. Also, I get to bring people together like you guys to talk about cool things in the community and how we can impact our city together. So yep, I am Adam, owner of Missions Field, and I'm grateful for the team that I have here as well. And so it's an honor to serve you all.
Wonderful. Good job, everybody. That's probably the hardest part about these meetings. So now that we got that out of the way, you don't have to leave your camera on, but we encourage you to because we love seeing your faces. So the rest of the team, aside from everyone who's already introduced themselves, our titles are there. We also have Rochelle who helps us with our paperwork. And so we all have a part to play. And the next slide shows you the first screen you see on missionsfield.org. If you haven't already, feel free to open another window and jump on there, or you can do it later. We do want to encourage you to create an account, whether it's through your Google, Facebook, or LinkedIn. And that is a Mighty Network website. So if you have any questions how to use it, let me know. I'm the member coordinator. And the next slide is talking about our profiles. You can create that, including however much information you would like. The more the better, because we want to get to know each other. This is a network we're building together so that we can serve Lansing better. So whatever you want to put in your mini bio, we love all of it. And that includes the about section, which would be what you hope to gain. So what brought you here? What is it you're hoping to learn about each other? And what are your needs and strengths? Because that's the way we're going to be able to help each other connect. And the next slide is any additional information you want to include, websites, posts. We would love to see more activity there. We're building this so that you guys can get to know one another outside of the general social media. The reason we built the network is so that you guys can share and grow together. So I'm happy to facilitate that in any way we can, and we post as often as we can so you have all those resources at your fingertips. So please post. And so our agenda today, it's basically the same for every meeting. We just change up the topics, but our goals here at Missions Field are to evaluate the churches and needs and to equip partners at churches and nonprofits to join together, join forces, so to speak. And we want to empower by allowing people to tell their story, right? Because our testimony is the only way that people get to know how we've come to be who we are. And then we want to get missions filled. So hopefully we can help you fulfill some of your missions. And then at the end is my favorite part, which is the prayer. A housekeeping reminder, please remain on mute when not speaking. If you have any concerns that you need to address immediately, feel free to type them or save the questions for when the appropriate time is. And we are trying to wrap up by 12:30. So I'm going to hand it over to Erica. If you would like to talk about evaluating, thank you so much.
Thanks, Cassandra. Next, we're going to talk about evaluating the needs of churches. So what we're going to do is talk about how we can capture the data of local churches' needs and strengths and help them impact our communities. If you go to missionsfield.org, you can go right here where it says share outreach needs. And that's where you can fill out a survey. And you can share about your church's strengths and needs that you might have. And we're working on constructing an asset map of churches and organizations in the greater Lansing area. And your help with constructing that asset map would be very valuable. So that's a place where you can share, again, your needs and your strengths. If you would please post your response to this question in the chat, I would appreciate it a lot. What is your church's outreach doing or have an asset to help impact families in the Lansing area this year? Some examples are mentoring, food pantries, homelessness response ministries, incarceration ministries, and things like recovery and substance abuse ministries or meetings. And once again, you can also share at church.missionsfield.org. That will take you right to that survey. Cassandra said that Mount Hope is helping to bring City Quake to Lansing. That's pretty awesome. If you don't know what City Quake is, I will leave it to Adam to share more details about that, but it's a pretty cool thing happening later this year. Heather Spadowski, since I can say her name, would you like to share your answer?
Sure. I just mentioned that we've kind of, after post-COVID, decided to kind of simplify and our focus for local outreach, and we're just trying to rebuild our partnership with Gardner International Magnet School, and also with the homeless through the ministry Essential Blessings, which one of the women at our church started that nonprofit after being homeless herself. So
it's pretty awesome. Thanks, Heather.
yeah.
And Devin, I know, is going to tell us more about Love the City. Jasmine says feeding families on Thanksgiving and Christmas and providing prayer and gifts. Ben is saying that one of the things his church is doing is supporting Building 21, which is a teen center that supports students after school with programs and activities. So you can read more information about those things in the chat. And hopefully, you know, if we populate the missionsfield.org, then there'll be more information about those things on our social network. Next, we are going to talk about equipping, and so I will pass the mic to Adam.
Thank you, Erica. Appreciate you guys. Awesome team work. So yes, equipping is what we talk about every month, but the key thing is having a special guest come and talk about ways to serve the particular topic. And so this month we have the focus is on schools. And so generally there are nonprofit leaders and church leaders that are on the call to talk about ways to serve schools or whatever topic we have. We also send the email out to over 200 leaders as well every month, kind of just the video of this meeting and also a digital report of the things that have been shared. And so whether that's an event that you shared in this meeting or if it's a program or whatever you guys are doing, that's typically shared in this e-news report that goes out. So I'm excited to collect that information and also share today Devin from City Life. He's going to talk about how their church is serving schools. And so additionally, we in our Missions Field database, we call it, we have resources and grants and other things that we would like to share that's relevant to helping you impact schools and youth and other areas, various areas that you might want to find. So definitely check out missionsfield.org for more information. We can also consult with you one-on-one on how to navigate or even find things that are not there as well. And so I will say, because Dara from the Bread House just texted me as well, said she won't be able to make it, but I know the Bread House is also working with a new house at after school program. And she'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, but it's an entity that is coming and partnering and they're utilizing their space. The school is called Transcend. And I think it's based on musical arts. And so it's good to see her how we are, churches are stepping up to impact all families in the Lansing area through various different sectors and ways. And so without further ado, I'm going to open it up to Devin and we'll hear from him for about 10 minutes. Additionally, we'll be able to have some time for Q&A. The thing is, usually, again, there's nonprofits on the call, so we won't hear from nonprofits unless they jump in. But those nonprofits usually would share other resources, such as from community and schools and child and family charities and so on. And so without further ado, I'm going to pass it, as Devin would say, pass the ball over, bounce pass, whatever you said. But without further ado, Devin, Levette, everyone.
Man, thanks so much, Adam. Appreciate the hookup, man. Yeah, I use a lot of basketball analogies. I'm a basketball player, so forgive me if you're not an athlete. You'll just have to suffer along for a few minutes, but I'll try to be brief, brilliant, and gone. I'm not sure everyone's familiarity with City Life, Love the City, kind of that whole world. So I'll give a brief overview of who we are, kind of what we're doing, and then ultimately what we think the future holds for the church and partnership in the city. So City Life Lansing, 8-year-old church plant, launched in 2015, started in the public schools, kind of began as this movement to say, before we even had the church name, the call from God was love the city. And what does it look like to have a church that has a contextual gospel expression, but also comes with no love with no strings attached? How do you show up and be present around people? And so Jeremiah 29 has been a verse that's really spoken to us, which is, seek the welfare of the city, and in it you'll find your welfare. And so that's kind of been the heartbeat in John 1, Jesus moving into the neighborhood. And so for us, the heartbeat is always close. It's proximity, frequency leads to intimacy, and then that ultimately makes way for the good news. And so we're just a church that's trying to be faithful, love people where they are, show up in the neighborhood, show up where life exists, and be present. And so kind of the way our whole story started was before we were ever a church, we were doing tutoring in the high schools. But before that, we were music missionaries, traveling, doing shows, performances. But we saw this need in Lansing that, it was 9 shootings in 6 days. African-American boys were graduating 49% from the high school. Lansing was in the bottom 5% of all school districts in Michigan. And we said, you know what, man, if there was a life-giving presence in the schools, what would that look like? How could we move the needle? And maybe it's not that we solve the issue, but maybe it's just that, hey, we bring love and see what impact can come. So it started with tutoring the basketball team, bringing Capri Suns and trying to get these rowdy boys to stay in a room because they, the school needed it. And then it kind of grew into this movement of saying, hey, how do we just show up during the day? And the powerful thing about schools is that kids are there 40 hours a week, right? It's all day. And the other crazy part is that you've got families coming there as well. You've got school events, extracurriculars. School becomes like a hub, if you will, for culture for 9 months out of the year. And so if you really want to impact a city, we thought, well, hey, you got to be close and spend a lot of time where people already are. So looks like there's a picture of me, and I can send it out if I find it, but there's a picture of me and our lead pastor, Jerome, with hair nets hanging out at an elementary school, opening milk cartons and passing out sauce packets and eating corn dogs with kids and just having a good time and being a life-giving presence. And ultimately, man, that has blossomed from this organic, let's just be there, to having now, I think we're averaging 35 volunteers a week. We do some mentoring programs. We're at every lunch in 3 schools. And then we do bookend events. So we'll do like truck, ice cream, performances, all kinds of things, beginning, end of the year. Just to say, hey, man, every human being is loved. they belong and they have purpose. And so for us, it's when we think through even the language of outreach, sometimes we don't use that, when we're outward facing with people, because the goal is that you'd be close enough to reach out, that you would live amongst, and that you would live in proximity with people. And so for us, we show up at the schools because we love people. And it's not a gospel event. It's not a, hey, let me convert you, let me preach a message to you. It's, hey, what's your name and what's your story? And do you want to eat this cold lunch food you don't like together? And what's up? And let's talk about it. And so that's kind of been the heartbeat, if you will, for 8 years. And I'll be honest, we're not superstars at all. God is just faithful. He's just really faithful. Seeing families and kids come to school, come to City Life off of this, attending church, getting baptized. And I think one of my favorite things is I'm actually at a camp right now. I'm the MC at FCA, if any of you are familiar, but Fellowship of Christian Athletes. And through a partnership with them, we perform, do music, kind of the whole thing. We throw a concert on Wednesday nights. And they provided scholarships where we have 60 kids from Lansing Eastern right now at this camp, hearing the gospel, being discipled, asking questions, right? Getting to be around Christians, and yet also developing high level sports skill sets. And that's just one of the fruits that has come from just showing up. If I'm honest, it's nothing special. It's not because we're sweet. It's not culture. It's not anything. It's just showing up and saying, hey man, you matter. And let's talk and let's hang out. So it's cool. I kind of get to, this meeting's coming at a really cool time because I'm sitting in the middle of the kind of culmination of an 8-year journey, and watching kids that, we've met on the block at the schools get saved last night. So all in all, man, God's awesome. We're just trying to play our part and do our role, and just show up and be near people, man, because it's kind of hard to love people from a distance, So that's really the heartbeat. That's kind of schools for us. It's lunches, it's tutoring, it's mentoring, it's basketball coaching, it's all kinds of things. And there's stories for days, but really that's the heartbeat of what we do. So I don't know, Adam, if there's anything else out there. Some of the people on the call are pretty familiar with us, so I don't want to over talk or overshare. But yeah, man, that's kind of City Life, and love the city in a nutshell for the schools.
Quick question, Devin. What ways can, whether they're on the card or not, can people work with you guys or support you guys, volunteer?
Yeah, man. So a lot of ways. I would say first, man, if you can be present. So school year will come back around and we'll be back there again. And so if you want to volunteer, sometimes it's what we pitch to even our churches. Hey, grab a lunch hour. If you got 30 minutes, if you got 45 minutes, come get background checked and come serve with us. Come just be in the schools and hang out. A lot of times it looks like just being safety and mom and dad in the room and making sure, kids aren't fighting and they're not arguing, kind of diffusing tension. But really it's just, hey, building relationship. That's the biggest thing. People just want relationship. So that's a really big way that I would say during the school year, kind of that helps. And then I would say the continuation of that really is what's happening now, which is block parties. So during the summer, we take our big box truck. It's like a mobile concert, pull up in the neighborhood, and we're grilling out hot dogs, burgers, handing out ice cream, playing games. And what we're seeing is all these kids we saw all year in the high schools are coming to these block parties. And then we're getting to have intentional touch points in a very different environment that leads to gospel conversations, leads to, oh my goodness, hey, you guys are a church? What? You're a church? That's crazy. Can I come on Sunday, right? And so it's cool. One of my favorite moments, we went back to one of our first places, summer place, this past weekend. And this grandma came through with her little daughter, just walking the neighborhood, saw us. And she's like, oh my gosh, I've seen you around, but I didn't know what you were. So I had to comes to a block party, shows up at church the next day with her granddaughter, I believe. And so it's just moments like that. It's just creating touch points for people to build relationship. So that's really the heartbeat. But those are some ways you can get involved: is volunteering in the schools and then block parties. And I'll send the schedule as well in the chat here. I'll send a little screenshot, but it's just lovethecity.org. You can see kind of what we're doing.
It's awesome.
Oh, I saw.
Go ahead.
I saw a message from Heather really quick. So City Life, the 3 that we're in now. So we've been at Gardner. We do the bookends there. The 3 we're in every day were this past year Eastern, Pattongill, and then we did mentoring, one-on-one mentoring at Rio. But then we would grab maybe another 5-6 schools like a Gardner and a Geyer and Forest View and some of those, and we would do these one-off events at the beginning and end of the year, and we do some assemblies as well. So we have been to Gardner, but our 3 during the week: Eastern, Pattongill, and Rio, which is now becoming Atwood. Great question, though, Heather. Great question.
Awesome.
Sorry, Adam, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Okay, I was just saying, I love how you guys started with meeting the need, and then from that
Yeah.
space, that data point kind of got you guys to serve and show up, and God provided the means of how to do that. And then, I mean, 8 years ago, I mean, the fruit of that is a whole discipleship community, which is City Life. And when it comes to doing outreach work and the seed that you sow, the fruit is more people being discipled and becoming members. And so I love that it started with meeting a need and hearing the community first and seeing what was needed, showing up, like you said. Sandra said, I'm
Yeah.
stuck.
I'm still stuck on this. I know, right? Man, FCA is dope. They've got great leadership and they love us. And really credit to my lead pastor for how he's kind of paved the way in that world as well. But yeah, 60 scholarships, kids signing up. It's honestly, it's insane. So that's probably one of my favorite moments. So I get to go into Eastern High School, stand on the stage, invite 250 of their athletic program, all their athletes, and say, hey, this is a Christian camp. You don't have to come. We're going to talk about Jesus though. And if you want to come, dope. And then they all sign up. And it's like, what the heck, man? Like, God's nice like that. He's just so kind. Yeah, 60 is crazy. Shout out FCA, man. They're awesome.
And that came again, relationship be established with those entities or schools.
Yeah. Which quick touch on that, just for anyone on the call that works. Every year we get those scholarships. So if you ever have kids that you want to go to FCA, you just give me a call and we'll get them signed up. I'll send you the registration link. You can do it. The spots fill up really fast. So just let me know if you work with kids, but we got scholarships for as many as we can bring, honestly.
Awesome. Cassandra said, I was a WFA kid. Okay.
Wow. It's powerful.
Talk at the same time, but yeah. Awesome. Well, does anyone else have any questions?
I have a quick question. First, I want to have my Love the City t-shirt on today.
Hey, let's go. I'd be wearing mine.
I did fill out that Google form to sign up to be a volunteer, and I was wondering, is it important to be background checked for the Love the City events in the park, or can I just show up? I didn't really hear back from anyone, so is it all right if I just show up, or do I need to wait to hear back from someone?
Yeah, no, it's so public event. You're in a park. Anyone can kind of come. Just for us, the background check is for one, a safety piece on our team, and then two, if you're going to serve. But anyone can show up. I mean, these are open parks. We're not taking over anything. It's more like we're just kind of bringing some dope stuff to add the environment. But I will connect with Monique. She's our block park to make sure you get an email.
All right. Thanks, Devin.
Yep, no problem.
That reminds me, I know, Devin, I've heard, I don't know if this is still true, but people can reserve the truck for special occasions.
Sorry, my sound is really low. I don't know what's happening. Sorry, guys.
It's all good. You're outside.
Apologies on that.
I was just saying, can people reserve the
a second
of the city truck?
All right, let's try that again. What'd you say, Adam?
Can people still reserve the Love the City truck for special events? Like if I was my street, I want to reach some people in my community, would I be able to work with you guys to bring your truck to either my event or my block?
Yeah. So that is a great question. That's a great question, Adam. So yes, the truck can during block party season. So I'll send the schedule. We're doing 5 events a week currently. So just team's capacity is pretty flexed, if I'm honest. But come August, we'll have a little bit more free time as we gear for Love the City Week, which I can talk about that as well. But Love the City Week. So in that month of August, we'll do about an event a week, and we're already getting some organizations hitting us up. But please send me an email if you have something. I'd love to bring the truck out if we're available and the team's got capacity.
Yeah, I know you guys.
Great question.
At Juneteenth, you guys showed up at Bless Fest. You guys showed up. You just show up.
Yep.
That's
just show up. That's it, man. That's it. If I can sum it up, just show up.
Show up. Does anyone else have any other questions or comments?
I actually have a question, Devin, for you, and maybe for the rest of you too. We have noticed post-COVID that whenever we kind of ask our body, hey, who's interested in helping out at Gardner and doing this, or who's interested, we're getting a fraction of interest that we got pre-COVID, and it's kind of startling. I'm just wondering if you're seeing that at all.
Yeah.
If anybody else is seeing that, how you're kind of navigating it, or
Heather, yeah, that's a great question. I would say one, yes, that a downtick for us in volunteering. So we actually were back in the schools in person last year. So we've been doing it consistently every year for 8 years. We took that COVID year off because everyone was online. We're trying to figure it out. How the heck do you love kids from a computer screen? This is weird. So we got back in last year, and our numbers were significantly down. I think we were having maybe 10 to 15 people a week at best between the two, 3 schools. And so I think it's just one, we've just got some momentum. That's probably all it is. If I'm honest, right? You get to stack, it's kind of cumulative interest, or compound interest. But yes. And I would say the other thing for us is we hit it hard from Sunday morning. The pulpit hits it. We talk about it. It's heartbeat language. It's DNA stuff for us. So we've incorporated, Love the City kind of is the heartbeat of city life. So from a recruiting standpoint, it's a ton of vision casting. I'll be honest, so I spend most of my time doing is recruiting and vision casting, getting people in the seat and the role to empower them. Because it's hard to do ministry by yourself, man. It's really, really difficult to carry all the weight, which shout out PCO and organizing and scheduling and all that stuff. So I get to be one piece, but you've got a whole team behind me as well. But yes, it has been a uphill battle sometimes at moments.
And we were in Gardner this past school year with like a handful of people at every event, like literally like a handful. Yeah. So hopefully we will see that start to build back up. But I'm just feeling like, will things ever be the same? What's the new normal? Yeah.
No, it's a great question. I don't know.
right.
No, I think it's just do your best. We always say, do the best you can with what you have type of thing, do the next right thing. And whoever comes, comes. There's moments we do events and 6 people show up and as guests, and you get 2 team members, maybe one, and you're like, oh man, dang it, I thought this was awesome, But there's other crazy moments where, God's faithful and a lot of people show up. But ultimately for us, we try to keep it at, hey, if one person shows up, that's a win. Because it is about the one. It's the lost coin. It's Luke 15.
Absolutely.
It is the lost son. That's why, that's why we do it. So yeah, both and. It's both and for us.
Awesome. Thanks, Devin. That's encouraging.
Yeah.
Also, Heather, maybe I can connect you guys with Dina from Mount Hope. I know they're good at mobilizing their volunteers post-COVID. I think, Cassandra can even add to that because she attends there. But I know that they have a group me. So using digital tools to communicate and update people on opportunities. And then just like Devin kind of said, the momentum is key and vision casting is key. Story sharing is probably the biggest thing I've seen Mount Hope do well online, social media, and on their pulpit or in their spaces. So squad meetings. That's what they're called.
Squad.
So yes.
Thanks, Adam.
I definitely will be able to connect you guys, or you can reach out if you already have Dina's information.
I don't.
Well, I'll connect you guys.
Okay, great. Thank you. I appreciate that.
No problem. Any other questions, comments,
concerns, sparks? What the heck are you talking about, Devin? You sound goofy. All those things. I will say there's something that I think is an easy on-ramp for teams. So thinking through 1, church volunteer teams, and then 2, like youth group / mission trip vibe. So every year we throw something called Love the City Week, which is we fundraise about 40, 50 grand. Last year we did 40 grand and we did, I think it was around 80 to 100 projects, somewhere in that range, 200 volunteers. And what you do is it's an all week kind of beautification service projects in Lansing. We organize and all you do is show up at the time. Get a shirt, you'll get a team lead, you get all the instructions. We try to make it a really light lift for just a kind of a billboard to the city of, hey, we love you. And then we end it with a large party for the whole city on the Sunday after church service. So open invite to everyone here to come to that. It's September 4th through the 9th, and then the party will be on the 10th. But that's helpful for your youth group or your team. If you want to bring people out and get some time in, usually it's like an hour slot for a service project, hour to an hour and a half. And we have 3 per day is typically what that looks like. So And I'll give Adam all that information. So you obviously, hey, we're all busy. I don't want that to get lost in the sauce. You know what I'm saying? I'll forget what I said in 20 minutes. So I'll make sure you guys get that.
Got it on camera.
Hey there, right? Yeah. Accountable.
Also, I'll say Mission Field does provide additional consulting. If you guys need any additional one-on-one time, we will do that. And that is our mission to do so. So if there's nothing else, anyone?
Devin, why you have transition lenses and looks like you're wearing sunglasses? These are my actual glasses. They just transition in the sun. So I'm not too cool for school. This just helps me.
Awesome. All right. Okay, well, I know some other things that I heard. I spoke with the superintendent of the Lansing School District. He was just mentioning some other data points. And again, I just share some data because, again, kind of how Devin and City Life kind of saw the data and met the need and then built relationship using that. Some of the data points that the school district and a couple nonprofits has used is how I've heard this like 4 times this past month. But right now, the current reading level of 3rd grade readers are at, I think 60% are under 3rd grade reading level or the national, whatever. So we're going to post some more of that in the e-news when I get some more information on what that looks like. But again, the solution that the school superintendent has provided is he needs more tutors. And so more City Life, more Devins, more people that will show up and mentor and tutor these students to help them break that that unfortunate data of being below the reading level, 3rd grade reading level. So again, if you want to find more ways to, find more ways to serve and meet and impact and be really recognized and honored, not in the way of being honored as, oh, it's all about you, but more so being honored as the church is stepping up so that people will again become more close to churches and comfortable with churches and in their spaces. And so that they can also hear the good news and also even show up or Devin has spoke up and said, hey, join this Christian camp. And people say yes because of the reputation. Also South Nass, who's not on this call, but they're on a couple calls a couple months ago, speaking about how they show up in Everett and other schools. And so again, that builds relationship, it bridges opportunities for discipleship. And so I just want to encourage you guys and hopefully activate those who are not doing that to step up and show up, as Devin says. And so if there's anything else anyone wants to share, please, now's the time as far as things that you guys are doing or resources like partnership opportunities that you guys might want to share. We can go around the digital room. I know you guys mentioned some things in the post as far as testimonies, but this next space is for resources or opportunities. So I'm going to start with Ben, the veteran, since Devin gave you a shout out. Is there any other resources or volunteer opportunities?
Okay, Devin. Yeah, I really I've always loved what City Life has been doing. In another life, another world, I might have joined that team or been a part of that. If I made a different couple other choices in my life differently, but I've always loved kind of from afar. I don't know if afar, not really that far. We're not that far away. But loved what they're doing. I was blessed to be a part of the start of what City Life was and helped them launch a little bit. But yeah, we recognized that a long time ago, 16 years ago when we started Journey Life Church. I was part of the founding group, and we recognized that too, that schools, really the way into the heart of the community is through the schools. And before I set up my nonprofit teen center, Ben, the youth pastor, couldn't couldn't get meetings with the principal, the superintendents. You know, they wouldn't let me into the schools at lunches and all of that stuff. And this was a Holt community. So Holt, what I've realized and figured out is it's become way more political than most of the other schools around. They're way more concerned about what the outside world is thinking about them than they are concerned about serving their own community, to be honest. If I'm fair, that's probably a pretty fair assessment of Holt. Oh,
Sorry, I think Jason, I muted him.
Jason. Oh, I was like, Jason, I don't know if you're agreeing with me or didn't like that assessment. I don't know. But I think in our community in Holt and Mason area specifically, and even South Lansing, because we get students from South Lansing, Holt, and Mason. And we get students from all over, but I realized a long time ago that the way into the community was through the schools. And when I started the teen center, that opened up like crazy opportunities to get meetings with principals. And for the last few years, I've been connected with the whole football team as their chaplain and also DJing at their football games. But really the heart behind it was we wanted to create a center and create a space for students to come after school to help find their passion and purpose, to coach them. A youth pastor once told me, Pastor Kevin at Mount Hope, I was an intern at Mount Hope for a few years under Kevin. And, you know, he would tell us all the time that the one who spends the most time wins. And I always said, as a youth pastor, I'm not spending a lot of time with them. I get them an hour and a half, 2 hours on a Wednesday. That's not good enough, you know? So I was like, how do I find more time with students? And so creating an after school teen center created an opportunity for us to bring students after school. We have programs, activities, and all of that. And Building 21, my teen center, would not exist without Journey Life Church either. And I recognize that because Journey is our landlord. We rent the space from them. And there's a whole history there that I would get into a different day. But for this group specifically, you know, our church has always wanted to impact the community and the world around them. They do that in a lot of different ways. But one of the big ways is they support financially the teen center because they believe in what we're doing and going into the schools and tutoring students after school and all the you know, same heart that City Life is doing there. And that is basically like an outreach arm of the church, although Building 21 is not a part of the church. It's a separate nonprofit completely. But the church supports it as an outreach. So we have, you know, members that come for different events that help, that volunteer. One of the guys comes literally every Tuesday and he's there to tutor students in math. So like there is a good partnership, but it's a separate nonprofit. So I have a whole lot I could say, but there are same thing in the whole Lansing, South Lansing community. There's great opportunity with what we're doing at Building 21, especially one reason I set it up as a teen center separate from the church was I wanted other churches, other youth groups that felt comfortable. We can bring our kids to this Building 21 activity and it's not another church thing that, you know, that church is going to have their own thing. No, it's separate from churches essentially, but we want youth groups to want to bring their students to our Friday night activities or our after school programs because it's a safe environment. I wish when I started this church, I started with one student in our youth group and he brought 2 friends and it was like, woohoo, we grew by 200%, right? It's beautiful, right? So I know what it's like to have a small youth group in a small community and wonder what in the world do you do with these teenagers? Like there's only so many Slurpees I can go to, right? There's only so many like pizzas of pizza I can go get students. Like I can only have so much. What do I do? And I was like, well, I created a space now that youth groups, churches can be a part of and feel safe that this can be their thing too, you know? So I have a lot that I could say. I've taken enough time. There we go.
Thank you, Ben.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pass it over to Heather. Side note, Trinity Church I think 2019. Yeah, 2019. So about a long time ago, 4 years ago, we did a ways to serve our schools workshop, and we had about 80 attendees that were teachers, youth pastors, directors, and so forth. And they all came together to learn ways to serve their schools. So shout out to Trinity for that heart and vision to get other churches and entities to partner and step up to serve all students.
Thank you, Adam. Yeah. So we're kind of floundering right now, to be perfectly honest. We had a change of our staff a couple of years ago that has been hard to recover from. But we're getting there. And one of the things that I think our church has done that is really being received well by the community is the disc golf course that Trinity put in. It's really been drawing people to our property and a lot of unchurched people. And it's just been great to hear people on staff, people part of our body who are, you know, out there connecting with some of the people who are coming through the disc golf course. So that's been really neat, just to kind of be a draw to people who maybe otherwise wouldn't step foot on our church property. So that's been super positive. We are right now trying to put in a disc golf course at Gardner. This was something they asked us to do. They already had the baskets and everything from several years ago from some grant. So we're praying that this will make it through Lansing, the school board. It's been like months that they've been kind of, I don't know if they've been deliberating on it or if it's just kind of been at the bottom of the list. And so we're just hopeful that that we can partner with them to make that happen and just have that added layer of connection with them. Our people who are doing disc golf, some of which are Christians, some who aren't, you know, from the community partnering there at Gardner. So yeah, that's all I have right now.
Awesome. I'm going to shift over to nonprofits. I see Erica or Jasmine. Do you have anything as a school representative? I know you do.
I actually don't have anything prepared to say, but what I can say is I work at Lansing Christian, and a major goal that I have at the school is to cultivate a sense of belonging and unity amongst people from different backgrounds, whether that's racial, socioeconomic, or otherwise. And so I am partnering with students and parents and faculty in the school to create experiences that just kind of usher in that sense of belonging. So this past year, we had our first Black History Month program in which we saw about 200 families come out. And it really did help to see people like celebrate diversity and celebrate, you know, just the opportunity to learn about different cultures and backgrounds. And this upcoming year, we are working to expand that to also celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month, Indigenous Peoples Month. We're also going to be celebrating people from Sweden and Poland with a Festival of Lights in December. And so just trying to really expand what that means. And then additionally, I am currently partnering with people within the school to think about like, what does it look like just cultivating belonging in the sense of how do we take care of one another? How do we stop from one another? You know, I think it's interesting that sometimes in schools, especially like in a Christian school, you can have people not feel like they belong, even though it's a Christian school and we know the greatest command is love. And so something that I would like to partner in the future, but I have no plan to share this with you guys now, but I will since I'm here, is starting to create a program where we teach kids what it looks like to really just be with one another, and kind of talking about what Devin was saying of like, what does it look like to ask people about who they are and what's their story and what's their name, and like teaching kids how to do that with each other. And I was when I think of this, I think of like Heidi Baker and how she was talking about, you guys probably know Heidi Baker, right? But she was talking about how she was on her way to a meeting one day and God had told her to stop for the woman that was on the street. And she was like, I'm busy, God, I have things to do. But God kept moving on her heart and she actually stopped for that person. And it led to a great testimony because she was able to pray with that woman, see a miracle. And the point of me saying that is I wonder what that looks like to bring into our schools, to teach our kids to stop for each other, to stop for the kid that's on the playground by themselves, to stop in the cafeteria and sit by the kid who looks like they're sitting alone or is having a bad day, to stop in the hallway for a kid it's basically distraught. Like, how do we cultivate that within our kids where they can take a moment to stop for each other and to actually see each other? And so like, that's my greater vision. And I think that I'm starting with celebrating these different cultural months, but my goal is eventually to move to the place where we just stop for each other's stories, no matter what that story looks like, and seeing how we can make that as a part of the fabric of our schools. And that is all.
Great, thank you for that. Erica, you had mentioned Jubilee, your nonprofit, has opportunities. Can you please share more?
Yes, thank you. And thank you, Jasmine, for highlighting the importance of testimonies and taking the time to listen to them in like all circumstances. As far as Jubilee and our upcoming event called When September Ends, at that event, we will be celebrating the struggle of a local family that's working to overcome homelessness. In James 1, verses 2-4, it talks about how we're supposed to count it all joy. So that's one of the themes of this event is, you know, I've had lots of people say like, well, why aren't we celebrating the victory? Because God told us to count it all joy. And to me, that means we should celebrate the struggle and how we come through it and how that forms us into the person that God wants us to be, so he can accomplish through us what he designed us for. So there's lots of ways that people can get involved with that event. We're kind of, the family that we'll be honoring will most likely be kind of set with their household. They're in the shelter right now. And by the time of the event, they will be in their housing and have like all of their immediate needs met. So kind of the focus of this event, as far as donations go, is like transformative opportunities, things that have been donated in the past were like gift cards to different restaurants and things like personal training. Soon I'll have more information about this family's specific needs and ways that they would like to change their life. So hopefully the donations will kind of coincide with their desires and changes that they want to make. As far as other ways to participate, we'll have a performance lineup. So there's room for anyone to perform. It's not an open mic. We do have like scheduled performers, but it's kind of like an open mic vibe. So if you haven't performed a lot, or if someone you know hasn't performed a lot, this is definitely a good opportunity to get out and have a warm audience receive them. Maybe it's their first or second performance. We also have several options for vendors and exhibitors. One of them is free. And the last thing I'm going to say about this event, because there's lots of things I could say, is that it's at the Fledge, which if you're not familiar with the Fledge is a pretty great place doing pretty great things for the community, but it's not really a lot of God going on in there. I recently had to just succumb to my daughter thinks the Fledge is creepy. And I just had to really succumb to the fact that that's her being discerning, not, you know, trying to get on my nerves, because it's a lot of different vibes going on in the Fledge. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I would really appreciate some support, as I feel like that's kind of like a mission field for me, the Fledge. I've been involved there in many different capacities over the last 4 or 5 years. So if any of you can find it in your heart, I would definitely appreciate some support in bringing God to that neighborhood and that community center. And that's all I have to share for now. Thanks, Adam.
No problem. Thank you guys for posting. I see Ben posted the web link for building 21. Additionally, the block party schedule is posted. Again, this will be all shared in the e-news. So I'm glad you guys are posting it here. So Erica, our e-news coordinator, can hopefully post that in the e-news report. She does. Anyone else, such as Cassandra or Jason, have any resources for helping churches serve schools or communities?
Jason, if you don't want to go, I'll jump in and just say that Creative Classes with Cassandra is officially launched. That is the corporate aspect of bringing art to businesses that have become uninspired. I believe that creativity is the gateway to higher level thinking. So I want to bring that to as many people as possible. And in that respect, I'm also hoping to open a nonprofit. I've started in 2019, allowing artists to showcase their work through a booth that I had at the Mega Mall, which turned into teaching art at events at a donation basis. And I am joining Junk in the Trunk on July 15th. I'm going to be doing face painting, so that's another avenue. Basically, if you guys have an area in your church or your outreach that needs help creating a space for artistic expression in the visual realm, please let me know. I would be happy to facilitate, and it is at a donation basis for churches, nonprofits, and I'm even putting together an art kit for a lady who said that she isn't having any success with therapy, so we're going to try art instead. So thanks for letting me share, Adam.
Always, no problem. And Jason, last but not least, I know you have great resources.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Jason Blanks. I'm with the Capital Area Health Alliance. And on July 26th at 4 p.m., we will be hosting a listening session. The venue is at the Lansing, I'm not going to say their Safety Council. So this event is to review adverse reactions to social determinants of health, chronic disease. In order, or if you have residents that would like to attend, we will be providing a $100 stipend to those that participate in the listening session. And so that rate is a rate that was identified by the state of Michigan per participant. So we have a flyer that will be shared hopefully by the end of the week. I have to have Ingham County Health Department approve my flyer, but then once the word is out, and we will make sure everyone is, connected to the resources that will be available. That is all I have, Adam. I'm not prepared to really talk about the health equity because that's still a little fluid, and I didn't want to overshare, and then there would be a concern from Ingham County. So other than that, I am always looking to partner with any organization and or church in the area where we can bring some of our resources to you, either that may be financially or, pulling volunteers or whatever we can do to help support. So please just let me know how best I can help serve, and I will do my best to step up to the plate. That is all I have. And thank you again, Adam.
No problem. Thank you, Jason. Jason has helped a lot of other entities, churches, nonprofits. And so I just definitely am grateful to have him just in our space as a key tool for our community to help us help others. And so last thing I know for this portion of our meeting I'm going to share is some other resources. For Missions Field in particular, we're actually going to actually use our profile. So that's why I kind of encourage you guys to join the Missions Field so we can join the Missions Field. Join the Missions Field so we can have an asset map or asset list of what resources are in our community. When it comes to partnering, or if we go after grants, we can, let's say we go after grants that helps youth. And now we have ideas of how many organizations and churches are serving youth. And so that is the benefit of having a profile. It makes it easier, not just for us, but for others that we work with to look at a glance who all is doing the work. And so it's about, finding the partners who are doing the work. And so what else? I'm actually gonna hit enter. So you guys are gonna get a bunch of links right now. Oh, Jason just shared his email. So these links are, I think, about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 organizations that are not here, but tend to usually show up. 6, actually there's 6. I forgot to put one link for Casa for Kids. Quickly, I'm gonna share what those are. Todd Martin Leadership, they have opportunities for impacting youth. by their youth camp that is centered around tennis, but and leadership as well. They also offer pop-up tennis activities for your site if you are at church or wherever you are, to show up and provide tennis for youth at, I believe, at no charge. Additionally, Child Family Charities, they have a Be the Light campaign, which is helping foster youth. They have a new building they just launched called the Jackson House. And so in return, if you donate, even if it's $1, you have opportunity to have your church or your organization name listed in a space that's public. And so please contact, either you can visit the website or contact myself. I'm a part of that committee as well. Lansing Save, you can donate towards a youth scholarship savings account. So basically this helps kids get money saved up. So example, there's about 2 churches I'm aware of, Bethlehem Lutheran and Stanley Parker's church. I forgot the name of the church, but
Faith Fellowship Baptist Church.
Faith Fellowship Baptist Church. I keep wanting to say Friendship Baptist, so I just refrain from. So these 2 churches donate every 5th Sunday to a student's account. And so these are just ways that your church can get involved in impacting the Lansing School District youth. Additionally, community and schools, they are looking for resource partners. So that looks like as they serve youth in the schools, you can share your church activities or ministries or resources, such as if you have an after school program you have, if you have tutoring resources, if you have anything else that would be a resource for youth. And they're actually in across, I think it's across 7 counties or more. So they have lots of youth they serve. So again, it's about partnership. So Davies Project, they are in need of volunteer drivers for kids' medical appointments. They are in dire need for volunteer drivers. And so again, if you want to find ways to partner with others to serve youth and residents in our city, these are some opportunities. Last but not least, Casa for Kids. They're looking for volunteer advocates. The volunteer advocate process is, I don't know, Cassandra, are you still in that? Are you still an advocate?
That's funny that you mentioned that. I am going to be replying to that email very soon. They've been asking for a while. There is a long list of kids in Ingham County who are awaiting an advocate. It's a very easy training process. I won't say easy. It's thorough, and they train you properly, and there is a background check involved, but without the advocates, these kids don't get to go to the courtroom, virtual courtrooms. So they're just waiting for you and me, because I haven't actually done a case yet, but
Yes,
thanks for the reminder.
Yes, thank you for signing up because it's needed. And so additionally, I know my cousin is a volunteer there and she's been doing that for over a couple of years. And so I do know it's definitely a rewarding process or opportunity for the volunteers and for the youth. And I just posted that link in the chat as well. So yeah, trying to think, is there anything else before we shift to our final phases of our meeting? I think that's it. Unless anyone has anything else they want to share or questions they want to ask. All right, cool. Well, I'm excited again because of this unity or because of this connection that we're doing, networking we're doing today. I believe more greater things will come. And as far as the report that goes out, I know others watch the video and listen to the things that were shared. So I'm excited to also hear their testimonies. So without further ado, I'm going to switch back over to the screen share so we can stay on task. All right. Take a second. Seem to have. All right. Oh, yeah, I'll share more. So once you do go and join our database, you'll find ways to do different things. And so there's lots of things in there that are posted, resources that are shared by members. It's kind of like a social network, a Facebook for charitable people. And so again, you can share things, you can create groups. Earlier we talked about how GroupMe can be a tool for your volunteers to communicate. We also are able to do that through missionsfield.org. You can create a group as well, and you can have a group chat that can also be available on your phone. But these again are just additional options. And any events you want to post, you can post events and do so much in this space. So just another shout out to missionsfield.org's social network space that we created, because that is again helping people work together to impact all people. And so I think we have about 90 members total, from youth to senior to nonprofit to volunteers. There's so many different members that we have as far as a diverse range of leaders. Yeah, you also book a consultant via this space as well. So the side panel will have all that information where you're able to contact us, or you can just simply reach out via email as well. All right, next I'm gonna give it back over to Erica, Bounce Pass. And she's gonna share more about empowering and how story sharing is valuable.
Thanks, Adam. I caught the ball. We're going to talk about being empowered next. Sharing stories inspires and encourages us. I always like to think of Revelation 12:11, where it says we overcome the accuser with the blood of the Lamb and the power of our testimony. So that tells me that testimonies and sharing them are very important. So I think the next thing we're going to do is a little breakout where everyone is going to take a couple minutes. So the breakout session will be 5 minutes long. So there'll be one-on-one. So there'll be 2 people, and it's up to you how you use your time, but just please make sure that both partners get a chance to share. And then when we come back, be prepared to possibly share your partner's testimony if they share something special or especially inspiring and encouraging. So I think Adam's going to send us to a breakout session next. So is there anyone incredibly inspired and encouraged by the story they heard? If so, please share some high points of it now.
Yeah, so I'm gonna share. I had Erica and I had a discussion about a family that she was able to help that was homeless. One thing that jumped out to me is that she stated where they were staying, and they were actually living out of a cemetery, if I'm correct. And so that really made me say, oh my gosh, like, that is sometimes, a really low point for individuals when they are staying in the cemetery. So Erica was able to meet with the family, provide some additional support, and get them into a campground, correct?
Yeah.
Yep. And so that they had at least a little bit more stable housing. And then I know that you bought them lunch. So I just praise God for, Erica being in the right place at the right time, and having the resources to be able to support that family. So yeah, I thought that was a wonderful testimony of love, so great job.
Thanks, Jason. Oh, I like Jasmine's little celebratory emoji. That's cute. Can we get one or two more people at least to share? It's a small group, so everyone could share if they wanted to.
I actually kind of hearken back to what Jasmine had shared originally, just with the, efforts at Lansing Christian to celebrate, Black History Month, Hispanic Month, bringing other ethnicities, cultures, nationalities into the mix, and just trying to provide space and encouragement for kids to just stop and listen to one another. So I just took a minute to tell her how much I loved that. And we ended up realizing we have some people in common and made some connections that we might not have known we had. So that was fun.
The best news I've heard all day. We are here for those connections. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I just love when we get a glimpse of, these people like Jasmine who are in the classroom with kids, daily, and just hearing the Lord's heart for people, for all of his image bearers being reflected in what she's doing at Lansing Christian. So that's a beautiful thing.
Awesome. Thanks, Heather.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anyone else that would like to share? I'll just share a quick highlight from Jason's. It was kind of personal, so I won't go into details. But what he shared highlighted the importance of, again, just taking time and making space for people that we care about. Especially when that wasn't our plan for the day. So that was what I got from Jason's testimony. And if there's not anyone else gone, we'll move to the next slide and talk about where you can share your outreach testimonies at missionsfield.org. We do have a testimony section at missionsfield.org. And this blank face silhouette guy is you, because we love for you to post your story there so that it's available for all passersby to experience and be inspired and encouraged. Because I think, as we've been reminded today, that testimonies and stories are pretty important. So we'd love for you to share your story there. And there's a chance that it could be highlighted in our e-news at some point in the future. And so please do that. And I think that's all I have. And I will pass it to Cassandra.
So thank you so much, Erica, for that helpful information, and for Adam for creating this space for us, and to all of you who are here. And most importantly, we want to make sure that we're acknowledging the Holy Spirit and the work that he's been doing in all of our lives. So at this point, we like to share the Bible verse, Matthew 9:38, about how we are not only shown the path how to disciple, but also that is a commandment that was given to us. And you all are a living testimony to that in action. So thank you for that. And Heavenly Father, we are grateful for the opportunity to come together to network and share with one another about how you are cultivating a spirit of giving and sharing in the community, and so that your light can shine into the dark places. And we know that the capital city is struggling, and that our teens and our youth are in spaces that they either don't recognize or don't celebrate because they've been through so much. God, these last few years, I can't imagine, but you know their hearts and you see through the places that their parents, teachers, and outreach leaders can't. And we hope that you would allow us to be shining examples of what it could look like to live a life that doesn't pursue chaos and doesn't want violence, but instead seeks for peace and for understanding of one another, God. And I thank you for facilitating those opportunities to learn and grow, and for learning how to be an intercessor in prayer, God, as we are the guides for these youth that are our future, that we are living examples of the biblical truth, that you are the way, the truth, and the life. And please help us to show that to them in ways that would be encouraging, motivating, and inspiring. So I thank you for our team and for all the people that are here, that they would go out today and the rest of the week and be light to the world. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you have any last minute questions, feel free to pop them in the chat, but otherwise that's all we have. And go to missionsfield.org if you haven't already. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, you guys.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone. I got your email. I'm going to respond to you.
All right, another one in the books.